Hey there, I'm Sean C. Davis. I'm the developer education team at Netlify. At Web Unleashed 2024 in Toronto, Netlify CEO Matt Biilmann gave a great talk that progressively built on a very simple example to demonstrate the power and flexibility in caching strategies that you can apply using Netlify's fine-grained cache primitives. Here's a snippet from that talk that shows how you can cache pages based on the values in query string parameters using the Netlify vary header. This can be useful in many cases, such as reacting to that long list of params social media sites tend to add to shared URLs. Here's Matt Biilmann.
Go to my mom and say like, hey, look at this really cool URL and share it with her in Messenger, right? Like I just built this and it scales to the whole universe. Then I'm gonna click through what happened here. This is not exactly the same URL as I was just sharing with my mom. Somehow just clicking on that URL added this whole bunch of stuff, which is probably like a unique session identifier for this specific click on a URL that Facebook is helpful enough to add. Almost all social platforms will do that, right? When we have a URL like this, what do you think should be the right cache key? I can tell you that by default, it is the URL, right? Like it's the whole URL. This query parameter is part of the URL. So we just built a system, we ran a performance test, and we're like, this is gonna scale, this is great, our function is safe. And then as we take it to production, and it goes viral on social media, everybody gets their own cache key. Guess what happens to our like scalable system, right? Like we suddenly have zero caching. Let's say we actually care about a little name in the query parameters because, and again, another little tip here, you gotta take all of these accounts in the E tag, otherwise nothing will change when you do anything. And we'll put a little call out here and just say if there is a name, let's render a little hi name. Okay, we're back to our local server and I set a name equals Matt, right? Like, again, what do you want to be the cache key here? We definitely want this name to be part of the cache key because otherwise, who knows what ends up in the cache, right? Like, so we need to start thinking about like what should the key be. Most CDNs will give you ways of manipulating them, like cache key, page rules, and settings, and so on. The challenge here is that requires you to know your whole URL space up front and understand like when you configure that, which pages should require around which query parameters and so on. So at Netlify, we kind of invented a new simple convention for this. That's a Netlify vary. It lets me say here, I want to vary the cache key just based on the query name parameter. I can set that, and now, if we go and deploy this, we'll start seeing that the cache key will ignore that annoying Facebook identifier, any weird UTM params, any session trackers that your marketing team inadvertently added through Tag Manager from Google or whatever, right? Like all of these things that'll fundamentally break all of your attempts on actually doing caching whenever you are in production and doing it for real. Let's verify that this works. Let's go and say name equals Matt here. Hi, Matt. We can see all the caching works, the 3 or 4 and so on. But if I go here, we also get a different cached object, right? Like this query parameter is taken into account, but if I add some other just random crap here, it should still respect our, you see the 3 or 4, right? Like it didn't treat these two different URLs. The browser did, so you would see first at 200 from the browser, because the browser will still always, like there's no way of changing how the browser interprets the cache key, but the CDN will start giving hits and you will have protected your origin function again.
That was just one of many, many ways that you can take advantage of Netlify's cache primitives to deliver content faster to your users. If you have questions and you want to see more, leave us a comment and check out the links in the description. We'll see you next time.